All right, in this chapter, we're going to talk about how to receive in units or whole goods to your major unit inventory without a PO. In our previous chapter, we talked about how to create a PO and receive it from that. In this chapter, we're just going to receive without a PO. And it's probably the way a lot of dealers do it. They don't take the time to create the purchase order, they just receive the units as they come in. And hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I did it for many years myself. All right. So when we come to the major unit management page, we can see a list of our units in stock. In our previous video, we went over to ordering and we created a PO, and then we came to receiving without a PO. But in this case, we're not going to do that. We're just going to receive without a PO. So we can click that here. We can find our list of manufacturers that we're looking for active. We can find the year. We can find the model. It's a Pulse two-seater. We can add in all our information, our PO numbers, our invoice numbers. We'll set our vendor. We can decide whether this is paid or not. We can see our invoice dates can be set there. Our location can be set if we want. Maybe it's in transit still. We can put in a crate number if we would wish. We can go in and set our terms if they're set up, a free flooring end date. If it'll do that, it'll calculate for you and give you some terms and days left of free flooring over here. We can go in and we can add a VIN number, a stock number, an engine number, etc. Enter in any of our type of pricing that we need, 10,000 for our DSP, 8,000 cost. We could do holdbacks. We could do 500 freight setup. Oops, setup here. We can also determine which type of pricing we want to use. There is a dealership default, but we could override that to use MSRP, and out the door price, a special price. In this case, it's set to DSP. So that's what we're going to use. If I had select special price, you can see these fields open up. I could set a special price here. I could set a special price expiration date, so that kicks back into my dealer default, which in most cases would be DSP, etc. So you can set the current price there if you want. Once I have all my information that I want in there, all I got to do is hit save. Now, if I have multiple units of the same one and I just need to enter another one, I can hit save and new. It'll keep a lot of that information that's related to the invoice. So all I have to do is go in and add a new VIN number, add an engine number, but everything else is the same, and I can just keep doing that over and over. Or I can hit save and say I'm done. You can also overwrite the color. We know a lot of our customers customize their units or their goods. So maybe it started as charcoal, but it's now silver, black, or some custom color. You can also, just so you know, you can update those colors, and you can also undo them if you forget what the original color was. You can also set the marketing type. This is helping kind of designate where it goes on your website when it advertises on a destination. You can see more options, or you can add your own marketing types. Again, this was probably configured at the time you came on board. You can also decide if this is a new unit, a used unit. If it is, you can set it to certified pre-owned. If you do rentals, you have a new unit, or I guess it would be technically new in your inventory. You could set it to rental, and what this will allow is if you have a rental company you use and they have the ability to pull information via an API, you can set them up so they can pull these units right out of DX1 automatically right into their system, and then you don't have to build them over and over and over again, which is pretty helpful. Okay, once I have all that information there, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit save. And what it's going to do is now put the unit in my inventory, and I'll see a whole lot more options over here. So once I do that, I can see I have a pricing option where I can go in, modify any of my pricing. Now, this is stuff I set up when I received it. Specifications, you can see it already has a bunch of information here. This is information that's been provided by the manufacturer. Of course, you could add in additional information that they didn't supply if you wanted to. You can add photos of the particular unit that you want here. Again, you can see here's some public photos, but you could upload some of your own if you wanted to. Video links to YouTube. As we can see, there is a YouTube video link here. Destinations. So destinations is where this unit's going to advertise once you've added it into your inventory. That's one of the great things about DX1 is once you've added it into your inventory, it's automatically going to go up on all your destinations, so you don't have to do it. An example of that one with this unit here is we can see my active destinations are on here. Is if I can click my website, I can actually see my unit listing here. And I have a very generic website, but this gives you the idea of how you can quickly see what the listing looks like. And these are the photos that we brought from our photo options. We can see here's a video we could play. That's also the video link that was added, and all the other information that was related is going to show here. So some of those taglines, descriptions, conditions, seats, model codes, things like that. Standard features, which can be an expanded specifications. Again, this is information we've got, but if you add in more that wasn't sent to us, and then additional photos or videos, again, that can be seen here. Potentially, if there's any promotions for the vehicles, those can show as well. And so that's all what photos and video links do in conjunction with your destinations. I can also see a history of things that were done, when it was ordered, when it was received. I can find out if there's any particular incentives or F&I products. So I can see this one, we do have public F&I products built in. So if I add this unit to a deal, it will know that there's a product tied to it if I go to add an F&I product. I can also see models that could be considered a like model. So you can see here, it's trying to tell me that there's a couple other Pulse two-seater in a different color, and then there's a GM EV2 in a different brand that might even be similar. And then we could see if we've had any assembly parts or service, which we haven't. Now, in a previous chapter for service, we talked about how to create internal sales. So a lot of times, I'll take this for an example. A company might receive this unit but need to put the units or the batteries into inventory, and then sell them back to the unit, to keep them together as a package and to be serialized. So you can sell parts or service by clicking charge to MU from either one of the options, and then from there it'll open up that particular invoice where you can go in and say what type of sell you're doing. In this case, maybe you're going to install this item, and again, you could come down here, create a job. We'll say new job. We'll go in and let's see if I have any batteries in stock. Let's see, battery. I think I might have one there. Here we go. So I can add in that battery to stock, and then I can hit save this. I'll convert it to an RO, reduce the quantity just so I take the parts out of stock. And now when I go back to my major unit inventory detail and I refresh my page and I come down to assembly parts and assembly service, I can now see that there's items that are installed. And this internal process I just showed you is intended to be used to do things to the unit and best practices before it goes to the floor. Again, this is you're adding things to the unit, so you're increasing the cost of a unit. In another chapter, when we talk about how to do major unit sales, we'll show how you can request parts and service invoices that do not impact the cost of the vehicle, but simply get attached to the major unit deal. So those are the components of a unit. Once you have it saved in there, you can still see the charge to MU parts or service buttons up here. If there's a brochure, you can print it from this area. You could give this to a customer if you wanted. You can also print a major unit label. We do have hang tags in DX1. You can control some of what shows on a hang tag. It gives a QR code that goes straight to that listing. So if I would click to print it, we can see a little bit here of what it's going to look like. Now, you have a choice of how you want this to print. You can either print it or you can export it to a PDF. Some people like to modify them or add in some different details. But again, here you can just get a basic sense of what a hang tag looks like. Standard hang tag, which if again they shot this QR code, it would take them straight to that listing we looked at just a little bit. So a great tool not to overlook if you like using hang tags. Overall, if you for somehow realized you put in the unit and you realize, oh man, I did everything right from the data but had the wrong model, I can click change model right there. I could pick, the blue one. It wasn't supposed to be that color. And I can go ahead and hit save. And it's just going to verify that I am updating the information. And if I need to delete a unit, I can simply do that by clicking delete here. It's going to let me know that this unit can't be deleted because it has invoices attached. So what I'd have to do is go over to my service invoice. I'd have to come over here, void that order because I have invoices attached, which I just did by voiding the service order. It also voided the parts order. And when I come back over here again and I hit save and I want to change my model this time, when I go to do it, I'm not going to have any issue there. And when I go to delete my unit, I can delete it permanently because I don't have any invoices attached. So you just saw how you can receive without a PO. You can come over here, click it. You can search for your unit. Now, we did talk in model management in a previous chapter about how to add in custom models. So maybe in your list, you don't see the manufacturer here in your inventory. You can click show more and search to see a list of other models or things that you need. If it's not in that list, you can see it now just made my list huge because I clicked show more. If I click show more and I don't see the manufacturer I'm looking for on this list, what I can do is come over here and I can click add, and then you can go through the process of adding the private model, which I'm not going to do because we've done this a couple chapters ago. But you would fill out all this information, hit save, and then it would add a private model to your inventory. Once you are on your inventory list, here you can come in and you can search by manufacturer. You can start to narrow down if there's different years. You can search by model code, VIN numbers, color. You can also go in and do advanced search. So we definitely deleted some units there. We could go in and see different items related to in stock, on hold, trade, the conditions, new or used, things like that. So don't miss out on the advanced search if you need to look for something like that. So hopefully this helps you understand one of the main workflows you'll use in DX1 if you're on the major unit side, in particular if you're receiving major units or whole goods into inventory management.